DCRDATA Treasury is just one element making the project unique in the cryptocurrency space and the wider financial world. It's a Layer 1 DAO, decentralized autonomous organization, which was built as part of the project from the very beginning and improved to become more decentralized along the way. This contrasts with many other so-called DAOs, which are either afterthoughts, add-ons, or new projects built on top of existing ones. The third option is the most common, probably because it's the easiest to build, fund, promote, and initiate. Unfortunately, the majority of DAOs are actually very centralized, and the name has been misrepresented so often it now has little meaning. The Treasury was designed for one purpose: to fund the longevity of the project. There are a few reasons behind the decision to build a DAO. The first and most obvious was to pay for DCRDATA's development long into the future, and to encourage new developers into the space by having a clear method of payment. The second reason was to make sure DCRDATA's core team didn't have to go searching for funding, which would inevitably compromise the integrity of the project, steering the project in a direction that didn't fit the decentralized, non-custodian sound money ethos. DCRDATA Treasury receives 10% of the block reward, and in total will receive just short of 2 million DCR when the coin supply is fully diluted. This distribution mechanism means funds are released slowly over time. The Treasury can't hold a negative balance, and funds will continue to go in for the next 100 years. These funds are also accumulated, which is in contrast to other projects where they have to either be spent or they're removed from the coin supply. Over the last 6 years, DCRDATA has been able to build a war chest of over 800,000 DCR after receiving approximately 1.2 million DCR. The Treasury has a current value of over $32 million. As you can see, the DCRDATA team and community has been very conservative with how it spends its resources, yet another positive for the future. When you compare this with other projects that had similar funding either in the form of a DAO, VC capital, pre-mine, developers fund, or initial coin offering, you start to recognize the true value of a project that aims to be around long into the future and doesn't treat its resources as its private piggy bank. May 8th, 2022, DCRDATA decentralized its treasury. Spending is now controlled by the stakeholders and no funds can be spent without their approval. Let's take a look at the data. Firstly, in the distribution area, you get an overview of the Treasury and the supply currently in circulation. You'll notice the Treasury amount is higher here than in the next section. This is the combined fund from the legacy and the new decentralized Treasury. In future months, the legacy Treasury will be discontinued and all funds moved into the new Treasury. For now, this is a safeguard to make sure there are no disruptions due to unforeseen implementation issues. Click on the Treasury link. This link can also be found in the menu bar. This page shows the new decentralized Treasury with a link to the legacy. The 10% block reward is now being received here, and the bulk of the funds have been moved over, with only 46,000 DCR coins left to transfer. The migration to this point has only had one issue, which required the May 2022 consensus change. During the first attempt to decentralize the Treasury, there was a bug in the code that increased spending proportionately from a very tiny amount, meaning the required spending limit was well below what was needed and would be long into the future. The May 2022 consensus upgrade solved this issue, and to date the new Treasury has had 2 spends approved by stakeholders without issue. If you scroll down, you can see every transaction that has been made to and from the Treasury. This can be quite daunting as there is a new transaction every 5 minutes. If you click into a received transaction, you get to see that it comes from the Treasury base, which is the Treasury's portion of the block reward. To make this information more readable, you can change it. For instance, in the chart box, change from balance to send receive. Initially, you're looking at all the transactions ever received in month view. There are 14 bars showing the Treasury has been live for 14 months. Each bar shows how many DCR were received that month. For instance, last month was 9,203 DCR. The big bar represents the transfer from the legacy Treasury to the decentralized Treasury. If you change the group by button today, you can see this transfer actually happened over many transactions. This was a safety precaution and a security measure. Now, if we go back into the original settings and change the type from receive to send, we can see all the Treasury spends. The first 2 spends were followed by a gap. Then in June 2022, the first Treasury spend under the new rules took place. This was monumental, as for the first time, stakeholders using the DCRDATA wallet were able to vote on whether to approve the spend or not. This was approved and spent 2,425 DCR from the Treasury. For the first time in DCRDATA history, the coin holder had the final say on how the Treasury is spent. As a side note, if you scroll down to the bottom of the Treasury page, you can also change the type to spend and look into the transaction and the associated information. For instance, how many contractors received a payout. In the case of the July 2022 payout, 3,205 DCR were paid out to 19 contractors. As always, there is a wealth of information on offer, and once again, you don't have to trust what people are saying, you can verify. DCRDATA has made massive steps forward to become fully permissionless in every area of its network. These kinds of actions are frequently talked about in the cryptocurrency space, but are rarely followed through, either because it's too hard and the project doesn't have the technical ability, or because the controlling parties don't want to lose the power or financial reward the control gives them. In the next DCRDATA video, we'll look at the new Treasury spending procedures and how the spend is conducted. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and you want to show your support, don't forget to give it a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.